Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Richie and Rogue Show Unfiltered. And yes, straight away, we've got our guest on, our good friend, Joak. Joak, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Thanks very much for inviting me back on. Nice to see you. And nice to see you, Rogue, as well.
Always good to see you.
Yeah. So, Rogue, you back from camping. How was your trip? Did you have a good time?
Do you know what? It was so lovely. I had some incredible... So I've got a new phone, right? And I decided that I wanted to go to actually take some shots of sunrise and sunset and try and utilize the camera. Could I use it? Absolutely not. So I'm there calling my son, come here, help me. So he's having to do it. But I got some incredible shots that he took and I claimed.
Brilliant. I did see some of those.
Don't shake your head at me, Mr. Joak.
Yeah, I did see some of those beautiful shots. Absolutely stunning. The sky was amazing. Absolutely fantastic. But you did text me this morning saying it was -4 when you woke up.
Last night, it was -4. And I can honestly tell you, if I was crying in my sleep, my tears would have frozen. It was that bloody cold. But I was in an Arctic feather down like sleeping bag, and then I had a massive, like, I don't know, the biggest tog feather sort of duvet on top of that. So I was like toasty. It was just my nose and my face that was really cold, but everybody else was bloody freezing.
Fantastic.
Joak, I was fine.
So Joak, what's your week been like? Have you been busy?
Yeah, it's been a busy week, and I wouldn't do camping. That just is not me. I don't do that outdoor stuff. I like my home.
Oh, don't you, darling? Don't you?
I don't do that.
You're too good for that.
Not at all. Actually, no, I just can't afford it. But no, it's been good actually. I mean, I think it's been good in terms of understanding certain things in the world. But equally, we've had some blue skies. So you know what? And yesterday a rally in Edinburgh. Well, 2 rallies in Edinburgh, which was great to see, and a lot of people. So. Yeah, it's been a good week for that.
Right, I got a confession. Go on.
I was just going to ask about the 2 rallies because I started to watch one of them live, and it was quite good. There was one farmer woman who she was brilliant, but she just kept on getting. She's like, I forgot where I'm going now, and I was like, oh my god, I love her because that's how I am. I'm like, now I'm actually stuck. What was I actually even talking about? And she did it, so it made me feel completely kindred spirited with her. But it looked really good.
Yeah, it was actually good, but both were good for different reasons. We started off at the first one at the Mound in Edinburgh, which was run by mainly the Edinburgh group. And they actually had guys from Aberdeen and Glasgow and Falkirk also at their event. So there was quite a few guys gathering, and it was a good discussion with people, and it was pretty good. And then we went with my team, went over to see the one at Holyrood, and we saw that the Antifa Brigade were there, obviously trying to give a lot of hassle, but the speakers were good at that event, met a lot of people. You know what? It was a decent turnout from both. It's delightful. Good. Always could do with more, but great. Organisers, great credit to them.
That's right, really good.
I got a confession to make, and Rogue, you're going to go mad at me. I think I've left my laptop charger at yours, which means, you know what that means, don't you?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It means that you've only got 10 minutes on this show.
I have got. It's plugged in. It's plugged in. I got 9% battery life. But it's plugged in, so have no fear. We will get through the show. Don't panic about it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, let's talk about the big headlines then. So the big thing this week, obviously, has been with Iran and their new capability now to fire rockets. And as we know what their agenda is. And Andrew, you've been covering this, and you released a document and interpreted it from the Arabic as well. Quite frightening. Do you want to update us on what's been going on? Because Trump's been doing the rounds. Just want to show this clip here because Keir Starmer, as we've always said on this show, right, he is not a leader. He's always reactionary, right? He has no backbone whatsoever. And Trump had a lot to say about it. And I just trying to pull the clip up here if I can find it. Just bear with me. This is what Trump had to say about Keir Starmer when he was asked in the White House today.
Please.
Keir Starmer isn't making...
She's a fantastic reporter, by the way. Go ahead.
Thank you. The Prime Minister isn't making the case to the British public as to why he should be supporting you. Could you do that now and talk to the UK, to GB News viewers, about why it's in their interest that we help you?
Well, because we have a tremendous long-term relationship with the UK. I mean, People would say it's the best. I don't want to get into that, but we've had, it was the longest, the oldest, should be the best. Always was the best until Keir came along, and I like him. He's a nice man. He says everything beautiful. He's a very nice man with a beautiful family. Everything's perfect, but he doesn't produce. And I think it's very inexpensive. I just said, you don't have to send me aircraft carriers. Send me a couple of minesweepers. We don't need your aircraft carriers. But even the aircraft carriers, he would only send them after we essentially won. I mean, he's sending them when there are no planes left, when the missiles are down to 8%. They have like 8% of the missiles. The rest we demolished the missiles, and the factories, largely the factories are going even as we speak. They just hit another factory. They have a lot of missile factories. They have a lot of drone factories, and so he's wants to send them when we don't need them. But would like to have minesweepers, because just in case. We don't know that there are any mines down, because we wiped out, I think, 24. They actually have to think of this for a country. They have 24 boats that do nothing but put mines in the water. This doesn't sound like a great country. This doesn't sound like a friendly country, but we killed all of those boats. They're at the bottom of the sea. But so we don't even know if there are any mines there, but if there are, we'd like to have a little help in finding them, probably most importantly.
Would you like to change your flag? Do you have confidence in?
Wow.
Oh, I know.
So hang on a minute, right? I just need to ask a question, right? Because I'm going to just talk about the bullshit in that. Like, does he actually really believe that Keir's just like him and his family are perfect? Does it actually? Because let's face it, poor Victoria, like I've said before, looks absolutely haggard. She keeps on going into hiding, then coming back out, then going back in, then going back out. And then the kids disappear. And then everything is just like completely like disjointed. And Keir, I can't believe that Trump actually really likes Keir. I just can't.
With sarcasm.
Well, he doesn't, but he has to play face, doesn't he? Because it's our longest ally. But quite clearly, Trump has got no interest in Keir Starmer whatsoever, because, he asked for assistance. And our US and UK bases joined together, Andrew. They've been under attack, as you know, this week. And Trump said, look, I'm going to give Iran 48 hours in this window. And if they don't stop doing what they're doing, he is literally going to wipe them out completely. And when Trump says he's going to do that, Andrew, he's going to do it, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to get the point over, and this is really hot off the press, and I think it's maybe a good time to mention it. So you have, in terms of Iran saying in 72 hours' time, that was 9 o'clock yesterday evening, we are telling you that we are going to do X, Y, and Z. And part of that was they were going to escalate this in terms of getting something that they're looking for, which is complete clarity and getting rid of everybody at the Middle East that they don't want. That wasn't going to happen. And they said if that didn't happen, within 72 hours, they would start attacking the European bases, including the UK. Specifically, we now know in London and the northeast of England. They've also said Rome. Now, those are the three targets that were mentioned. They issued that statement at 9 o'clock yesterday evening. 11 o'clock yesterday evening, Trump said, listen, you've got 48 hours to do this, this, and this, or we're going to take out all of your infrastructure. He then sent a note out through the command, strategic command, saying that if you are supporting the war against your people, and I was IRGC, you need to leave the cities immediately. That was 11 o'clock yesterday evening. At midday today, B-52 bombers with 20 warheads left Fairford RAF base. Their flight time was about 7 hours to Iran. They were over Iranian airspace at just before 7 o'clock this evening, and it started dropping their laser-guided bombs, which are used for bunker busting. In other words, Trump is defending us, the UK people, from the missiles that have been set to target our country. Now, this is not the first time. The Greeks obviously took down the missile, or the drone that was going towards Cyprus. The Chagos Islands yesterday, the missiles that left, we were told at 9:30 yesterday morning, left to go to hit the Chagos Islands. One was brought down by the Americans, the other one exploded with no damage. Now, at no time has Keir Starmer stood up and said, you're attacking our bases, our people, we're now going to defend ourselves. Nothing, zero. So obviously Trump has taken the initiative now and said, right, we're going to bomb these bunkers because at the end of the day, that will protect us. Now, to be honest with you, this is the bit that gets me, because today also the Muslim Brotherhood evacuated their office in London and they're relocating to the north of Scotland. There's only one reason they're going to do that, because they know London is going to be hit. The next 48 hours, I'm sorry to say, is going to be, let's say, quite a stressful time for us watching what's happening with these missiles. They're ballistic missiles that they will send. It takes 20 minutes to reach us. Now, these are stratospheric missiles, which means that the normal systems like the Patriot system or the America 1-2G system, which is the defense system, will not be able to stop them hitting us. I've spoken to very senior military people today, and they've told me if there's 20 sent from from Iran, that about 8 of them will hit their target. They'll take out 12. That's roughly the percentage term. So it's getting serious. And for me, to be honest, the most serious thing is we can see Keir Starmer doing nothing, right? Which tells me the Muslim Brotherhood are running him. No other question.
Exactly. And you know what? You saw the other day, didn't you? When he was walking along and then that guy started rubbing his shoulder, cozying into his head and started into his ear and started saying, and Keir was like a rabbit in headlights, sat there like this. Oh my God. And then he came out with something like, all the Muslims are welcome. You know, we want to see more of Sharia law. We want to see more of this. You're right. Absolutely is owned by them.
Yeah, it has to be. And the thing that makes it so obvious is the fact of his lack of leadership and response for attacking our bases. Yeah. The lack of anything to protect us, the British people. And what we have allowed is we've allowed this Muslim Brotherhood, and you can see on my website, there's a 24-page document about their plans for the whole world. They've said quite clearly that we are going to be their target. Now, we are allowed to have them in our country, banned by almost every other country in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Prescribed.
Yemen, Lebanon, Ukraine, and us. I mean, what a great group to be linked with, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it's 27 countries have branded them up or prescribed them as a Islamic terrorist group. But for some reason, and we know the reasons why, right? Like Labour love the Islamic faith. Literally, Angela Rayner's been running around and, gathering their votes and everything else. And she wants to move the Labour Party more to the left because she knows what's coming. There's going to be a leadership challenge, I think, with her and Keir Starmer. So she's pulling all the odds in. There was a video out earlier, actually, I found it really funny. I'm going to play it in a few seconds. I another confession. We're on 7% on my battery. Oh my God. Like literally, no, seriously, literally. So we're just going to keep going. Rogue, don't look at me like that. Come on, love. Listen,
I am, because you told me that you were doing the show and that you were preparing for it. This is not preparation. You were never in the Boy Scouts, were you?
Preparation is all the videos and all the stuff I have to edit, right, in our studio side here. This is why we need a producer, right? This is why instead of me doing all of it and then having to do this as well. Anyway, not playing the victim card there, just letting you know we need a producer. But seriously, so we'll go as long as we can and everything else. But there was a video out today, and a bit of a, it just made me chuckle. Just listen to this; it's funny.
Oh, golly! Well, what if Donald shouts at me? What do I say, Lammy?
Just be yourself, Prime Minister. Yourself is who everyone likes.
Yeah, it's pretty much what you were just saying, Andrew. I'll do anything but take a stand. What's he doing? Like, what is he doing on the international stage? He is a laughing joke, and let's be honest.
To be honest, if it wasn't serious, I'd be laughing my socks off about it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's serious enough, and that was a great skit. That's probably what you can imagine him being like. It's almost like back to the days of Spitting Image, which I used to like. But I mean, when it comes down to how he's acting as a statesman, I've never been more embarrassed, I think, with any politician ever in my life. And actually, when I hear also the backbenchers today are wanting Katie, whatever her name is, the one that's got a big mouth and quite funny, wants to get her in prison for speaking of the truth as she sees it.
Kitty Hopkins, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. But actually, when you look at him being a statesman, I've never been more embarrassed. I mean, when I look at him, the way he speaks, his tone, and the U-turns he's done, 16 U-turns, whatever it is, every time he says something, he's lying. And it's like he's a puppet. And it sickens me, actually, for more than else. He's putting our lives at risk.
He's been community noted more than me.
Oh,
And
that
who's
takes
the
some doing.
Prime Minister?
That takes some doing.
You can fuck off.
Okay. Just
Can you imagine?
for a while. Don't be swearing at me.
Yeah, can you imagine Donald Trump though sitting there thinking that Keir Starmer? I mean, I'm not saying I'm a Trump fan or by any man of means, but you know when you look at him, he's doing this, and I genuinely believe that these B-52 bombers have gone out tonight to strike Iran, regardless of whether the war is right or wrong. That he's probably the one that's able to stop these bombs going out to missiles coming to us. Because if it's down to Starmer, I mean, when those missiles are launched, and they will launch missiles, and it hits London, what do you think people are going to say then? Now, if it hit Parliament, it'd be all right. If it's a direct, I don't think I'd have any problem with that. But obviously, for the rest of it, you know, I've got kids in London, so it's a very obviously big concern for me as well.
Yeah. So yesterday on the show, or was it yesterday or the day before? I spoke about, because one of my guys basically had Intel Direct, and it was that obviously this from Iran, the rocket could. They thought, I think Trump assumed that it's either 2,000 miles or 2,000 kilometers, right? I'm terrible at stuff like that. So basically, it's now turns out that it's actually 4,000 kilometers or miles that these kind of missiles can go, right? So people were correcting me, saying, "Oh, I don't think that's true. I don't think it's going to be able to hit London." And my intel had told me that actually it is going to hit 100%. London, and they are going to go for London. But what's the actual figure? Because I need to understand which one it is. Is it?
So the missiles that they have, the ones that will go through the stratosphere, they will do 2,500 miles roughly.
2,500 miles, right? See,
and I've just had a message, and this is important. Through the show, I'll keep getting messages from the intelligence people that I work alongside. There's a corporate meeting just this minute has been called for tomorrow to discuss the economy. Hello. And about the incoming missiles. This is just coming just now at 9. Yeah, actually.
Fuck the economy. Let's talk about the incoming missiles. What the actual hell?
This has come. It's been announced internally. Corporate meeting tomorrow morning to discuss the economy and the incoming missiles.
Jeez.
And I'll tell you. Yeah, and I'll tell you, the other thing that's just come in as well is about the Japan have just agreed to join America in the fight against terror and Iran. So they've also now laid their sort out. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of frightening to think that Keir Starmer, he has no control over what's going on in the country, right? Not just when it comes to international stuff, but also domestically as well. And I'm just still like many people that we speak to.
Do you know what? He's gone, hasn't he? That's it.
Oh my Lord.
His battery's gone. Really? He'll have to come in on his phone, although he won't have any. Oh my God.
No, we can carry on. Now, but going back to what you're saying about Starmer, and he is not a person who can lead our country. And he, honestly, Rogue, when I got this information last night about these missiles being ready to launch, they were talking about 300 missiles. Now, bear in mind, Israel have been hit by 400 missiles in the total war, all right, so far, of which 92% of them have been destroyed. So 8% got through. And I've got a list of, there was one that got through yesterday, which actually hit a mosque in Jerusalem from Iran. There's also another one that hits an area of the southern part of Israel, which injured 100 people, injured and killed up to 100 people. Now, just so that people can understand, these missiles, when they are launched to attack any country, a missile, they've got the medium range ballistic missiles. When it hits a building, about a half a mile circumference around that building, there'll be collateral damage. So these ones were. Sorry, it's got a call coming in. So I'm on here. I'm live. Okay.
No, because his batteries is.
Okay, so okay, thank you. Are you yeah, we're on live on the show. Yes, we are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that it's actually live because I can't see anything.
Just do the show, mate. Yeah. Okay, super. Right. Okay. Yeah. That's Richie on the other line. So
yeah, but I don't know.
It's computer side. completely.
I don't know if we're live because...
Yeah, we are live.
Okay, so I need to go onto YouTube to double check because now we can't see if anybody's typing in. So let me just go onto YouTube and have a look just to see, because if we're not...
Yeah, I'm on, let's see, I've just checked my Facebook. Actually, it's running a delay.
Yeah, I wonder, I don't think... Let's have a look. Oh, no, here we are. I can... Let's have a look.
Are we
Hang
live?
on. I think so. Let me have a look.
Yeah.
$1 question, right? It's tough.
This is like... Rogue can handle this. I absolutely can, Lee. Yes, I can. Right, okay. Yeah, we're on.
Yep, live.
Right,
We're
we're
live.
still on. Okay, cool. Right.
We're live. Technical hits. Technical hits.
Okay.
Yeah, super.
So,
yeah.
Okay. The only
So
thing
busy-
is I need to learn how to turn this down so I can look at the comments, because I can look at the comments, but I can't actually... How do I turn my sound down on... Right, let's try it. Let's see if I can turn the sound on. Can I do it? I think... Let's try it again.
I'll keep talking. Shall I tell a joke?
You keep on talking. Yeah, you just keep on talking. Tell us what's going on.
Nonsense. I will want to talk about a few other things. So, yeah, just back to what I was saying about the attack from Iran, the possibilities of the attack. Now, the situation basically for us is that we have a major situation. Actually, let's have a look here. Are we still live?
Let me go into the YouTube. I think we are. I just can't bloody tell. Hang on. Yeah, it says we're live still. I'm still looking. What I need to do. Yeah, right. Everybody's there. What I need to do is learn how to turn this down. I need somebody to tell me. How do I? 2 seconds. Alt. How do I? 2 seconds. Oh my God. Oh, I think I've got it. Woohoo! Wait a second. I think I did it. Wait a second. Right. Yeah.
Still live.
I've got it.
Elizabeth, we're still live.
You know what? We're all good now. We're all good.
We're all good. All right. Well, I'll carry on. So it's like technical hits. So you can like Richie for just going back to it. Fine. Yeah. So we're live. So listen. So yeah, go back to what I was saying about the actual missiles themselves. So let's go back one stage. So Israel have been hit by 400 missiles since the war began, and based on that, 92% of those missiles have got through. So about 8%. They've caused massive damage, regardless of what Israel may say or anybody else. I've seen the videos and photographs. And of course, like any war, they are obviously trying to keep that under control. Oh, Richie's back. Hey, Richie.
Right, so what I've done is I've switched to my phone. So the laptop's died, so I've managed to get into my phone. So we're good. We're back.
Awesome. Yeah,
my friend lives in Israel, and I've said to you before, he was like hiding in bunkers, and he was really, really struggling because his children were being sent to the army at the age of 16, and there's no choice there in Israel, and that's because they have to do it because of the constant attack that they are under. Now, my friend is really seriously ill. He gets really good treatment in Israel, and they look after him, and they really, really care about the health, which he was saying that the healthcare is so different over there compared to even here. So, whilst he's there doing what he's doing, he's having this kind of health issue, being looked after, but then everything's being strained, like you said, because there has been so much damage and so many injuries caused.
Yeah, and I think what for people maybe don't understand, that I've seen the attacks in Israel, and I've seen the cluster bombs that they have to put up with. So, and the dome doesn't stop everything. So some will obviously going to get through, and they're fired from Lebanon and also Iran. So of course they've got that kind of dual part issue. But when you're in a bunker in Israel, these bunkers are designed to withstand significant bombing. So when a building collapses, you have about 2 weeks in these bunkers to be, let's say, rescued, because they have obviously lighting, they have water, they have food, and everything to survive in those bunkers for up to 2 weeks. So they're pretty secure. And in fact, one elderly couple, and actually I was looking at what actually happened. They were trying to get down the stairs to get to the bunker in time. One of them was disabled. In fact, she'd actually been helping some other injured people from the previous few days. Unfortunately, by that time, she tried to get the bunker. They couldn't make it, so the missile strike and obviously killed her and her husband. So these things are real people, regardless of whether or not people agree with Israel or agree with Iran or whatever. There's real damage to people, and it's real people like you and I that maybe don't want what our governments are doing, but in collateral damage. And we can all disagree on the Iranian regime, and we can all disagree maybe on how Israel approached it. But unless you live in Israel, you probably don't understand what they have to put up with. And they also have leaders, or maybe have people maybe not so good on their side as well. So it's very easy for us all to judge, and the misinformation all the time is really difficult. So all I will say is there are real people dying, and it is terrible.
Yeah, and that's what he was, he'd messaged me because, I'm going to be really honest, like in the very beginning, there were so many people talking about how awful Israel were, and, then the Iranians and poor them, and, God, everything, it's just kind of this to and fro in between the two different like countries or parts of the country who are saying you got to do this or you got to, and you sat there and I'd be messaging him going, yeah, but don't forget Israel have just done this. And he was like, they really, really haven't. Like, this is absolute bullshit that is being, sort of sent out. Like, the propaganda is real. We are all suffering. And actually, last night, we didn't even like launch a missile. In fact, we had 30 sent to us. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what we're being told. And so it's really difficult because I trust my friend implicitly, and I will listen to him. And he's obviously on the ground with it all, talking to me through it. But in the beginning, when you're being fed something and you see it and you hear it, it's that input, isn't it? You start to digest it, you start to kind of hear it, and you start to feel it, because it's like, my God, that empathetic part of you comes out. And then when somebody says, no, that's not true, it's like, hang on, I can't compute that, because they're telling me this and this is fed me. But when I trust him implicitly, so when he's telling me this is lies, we haven't sent anything else, this hasn't happened, you have to believe what's actually going on. So when you see people in our streets campaigning and shouting, it's like, no war's okay, no war
Absolutely.
is okay.
And I think the point for me is I don't want to, and whenever I report anything, I never get involved in the politics of who is right, who's wrong. We just report the facts. That's what I want to do. And I might have opinion on certain things, but I don't like to share those opinions, because actually that would influence me by what I try to report. So I'm going to go by the facts. And the thing that I am factually looking at is the Muslim Brotherhood have a doctrine. In 2017, there's a document went out, and there's a clock in Tehran with a countdown clock. And that countdown clock with this document is about how to kill all the Jews and the Christians across the globe. And based on that, they want to wipe us out completely. And to further say that, and this is why I get a bit hacked off, where a cleric in Cardiff only yesterday made a speech, that's on Friday, in his prayers, and said clearly, if you're a Muslim, either a Muslim from faith and you're obviously transferred from another faith also, you have every right now to go and collect someone as a sex slave. And you can have as many as you like. Now, this is in the Cardiff Mosque, one of the Cardiff Mosques. Now, how the hell can they not be arrested for that? I think they should be arrested and put in jail, right? They get a Christian lady on the street that preaches or thinks about it, she gets straight arrested. And you get a cleric to say that.
Well, actually, Andrew, I've got a clip to play you of an imam. He's not from Cardiff, but listen to what he says. This is frightening, and this is in the UK. Just watch this.
Say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions, and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion has been sent to dominate, to wipe out, to take out every other religion, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest, even if the disbelievers hate it. But we're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say.
There we go.
Can I just say a massive thank you to Charlene for your amazing £5 gift. Obviously, because Rich is not on the computer, we cannot highlight that, but I just want to say thank you so much for that. And we
let me
really,
just try
really
Rogue on my
support.
phone. Bear with me. I just want to bring it up. Dad, 1 second, folks. Bear with me. No, I can't do it on the phone. My apologies. Thank you so much, though. We really appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Talk about that cleric, and this is where people have to understand: diversity is not inclusion. You cannot have a faith coming into a country and then say We want to take you over. We'll take you. I've explained that before on a previous show. But this is the part that gets me. People do not understand what impact this will have on our society. It's not about us accepting them praying in a park. This is about them saying quite clearly, if you're a Christian, you're a target. If you're a Jew, you're a target. In fact, anybody's a target that is not a Muslim and Islamic faith.
Even atheists are targeted. It states
absolutely.
that.
And that's the thing that people need to understand. This is diversity is not inclusion. And this thing, we start every sentence, we say, I'm not a racist, but I don't like the migrants coming in. I don't like, we've got to get away from that. I'm not a racist. Yeah. You simply have to say it how it is and don't start the sentence by saying we're not a racist, because we're not. I mean, we've got clear evidence here. The Muslim Brotherhood are going to take us over. And they want to use a caliphate, which is us. Trump will not allow that to happen. Won't allow it to happen. I think he's shown that today.
And I think Trump's on the ball, and he's actually picking up the pieces because he recognizes that we were the strongest allies, right? So we had a really good relationship with America. And now that relationship is only petering out because of Keir Starmer. So what is Trump doing? He's basically coming in and, you know, he's standing and bridging the gap for us at the moment because Keir is failing us. And, you know, there's so many people that always say, Keir hates us. Keir hates us. And in the very beginning, when people used to say that, I'd be like, it's a bit dramatic, isn't it? But actually, I have been won over. Keir absolutely hates us. He has no desire to save us, help us, or even interact.
Yeah, absolutely. He's run by the Muslim Brotherhood. There's no question for me now. To be honest, the fact that he's not stood up when our bases were being attacked, the two bases were attacked, he's come quite clear out and saying he's not supporting Trump. Now, I say I'm not a Trump lover whatsoever. But what I will say, it means to do that. You see here.
Yeah. I just posted this. I seen this earlier. Even the Church of England now are welcoming in imams to celebrate like their religious festivals, Ramadan. I mean, the Church of England and everything else has just completely gone so woke. It's unbelievable. I know Calvin Robertson has been quite vocal about this as well. I mean, it's just clear that their whole intent is to take over. That is it. You know, it's the caliphate, and it's what that imam just said there. All they want to do is replace us as indigenous people, impose their way of life and their religion and their civilization on us. And I've never known a government be so spineless and so weak as Keir Starmer is right now. I mean, it's absolutely abhorrent. And I think that is why a lot of people, you know, if you're looking at what's going on politically in the landscape here in Wales and in the UK, people are looking to parties like Restore, who've just been, obviously, they've just registered with the Electoral Commission, and Reform, because they're the only parties that seem to be talking about, we're going to push back on this. We've had enough of this. And like when they get attacked, Rupert Lowe's kind of thing is, we don't care. I don't care if it offends you. I don't care if you don't like it. This is our country. These are our people, and we will defend them first. And I think we need a prime minister who will really stand up for the people of this country, not someone that, you know, just pacifies people because he's scared of a religious uprising or civil unrest. Screw that. We've already got civil unrest in this country. We've got women being raped. We've got people being stabbed on the streets of London and across the country in Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester. When's he going to grow a spine and say enough is enough? You know, these people.
Sorry, I'm just going to interject, right? My friend, she came up to see me whilst I was camping, right? And her and her daughter went into Birmingham actually on the nighttime, and they said it was probably the most frightened they have actually been. They live in Solihull, right? So they live in Solihull, which is what, 15, 20 minutes away from Birmingham. And they went into Birmingham on the nighttime, and they said it was so intimidating. It was so frightening. They talked about the rats on the street. They talked about, you know, the dustbins. They talked about the rubbish. They talked about how people were walking around and you could see that they had weapons. They were locking their doors. And just for them, they were saying, we can't live like this. You know, we want to get out. We want to get out of Birmingham. We need to move. But the problem is, you know, that should have been enough, really, for Keir to kind of recognise that actually our you know, sort of areas, our main cities are being completely infiltrated. And it's the standard of living as well. The way that they live is just disgusting. It doesn't match how we live. We want our streets clean. They don't give a shit. They will just throw everything on the floor and, you know, dump stuff in gardens. There's a lot of people coming over and just chucking, you've seen them chucking their bins out on people's gardens at night. And it's the Ring cameras that are catching it. That is huge also, because it's everything that they are doing when they live here.
If you've ever flown with Pakistan International Airways on a flight to Pakistan, you soon realise you wouldn't want to see the toilet after 1 hour on the flight. That's how they treat it. And that's not being disrespectful. That's the reality of it. And I think it's not only is the way they're coming over and they're dumping the stuff everywhere and creating an atmosphere of fear. We're not just doing it with the Labour, Richie, we're also doing it with the Green Party. I've never met or looked at such a psychopathic leader as the guy that runs the Greens. And he's completely nuts. And when you look at the fact about the Church of England, in 2023, the first reading went through about stopping the Church of England in our country. This is the first part. We've investigated it. We've looked at the legalities of it. And we found out that it can be dissolved by Parliament quite easily. If the dissolving or moving the archbishops out of the church, then of course Parliament can, with enough members, they can actually dissolve it. And then the king, whoever the king may be at that time, he would become just a figurehead of a ceremonial, whatever. They can then remove the monarch, because that's in their manifesto. By doing that, now the monarch is a kind of a different one. We can argue about that all day, I think, in some ways. But the Church of England underpins all of our laws. And if that's taken away, then it's very easy to move it to Sharia law. That is the plan. And I've no doubt for that. And that guy, the Green Party, is a complete psychopath. I'm sorry to say that, but he is.
But he can make my boobs bigger. So come on, you know, there's a win-win here.
Yeah, well, I'm lost for words. I almost can't believe we're in this world at the moment. I think this is like a B movie, or it's a dream that I'm in. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow and phone you guys up and say, I had a really strange dream last night. It was really weird. And you think I was bonkers. That's how I feel at the moment.
Yeah. The whole thing's gone mad. Everything's gone mad. And it's also like the meningitis. Like, what the actual hell is going on with that now? You know, we had...
All right. I've had a disagreement with... Not a disagreement. I work with 6 or 7 different intelligence agencies, or people who have left these agencies who've worked internationally. And there's a difference of opinion. Right? Half of them will say, we need to wear a mask and it's real, right? And this will kill us. And half of them are saying, well, actually, it's just another SARS operation after COVID that we look so stupid, which is being played again. Part of me thinks they did COVID as a SARS operation. It's like reverse psychology. So I think we're going to reject it this time. We're going to sod off about the mask, and that will kill us. And the thing that worries me a little bit is that I was given a document which, from one of my followers, and I was asked to find out about it, and we found it to be legitimate. And it talks about the reduction of the population. Now, we've all heard about the Deagle report, but this was one that's specific about the UK. And the specific one talks about incinerators. Now, if you go to Glasgow at the moment, there's 2 massive incinerators being created near Glasgow, or around Glasgow. Now, why are they being done? And this incineration was part of this original document. So they could be expecting mass deaths because of this. And actually, if you look at the way we've been treated by COVID, 3 months before COVID started, they had this planning event. We did the same in October, November last year, Pegasus, for exactly the same. Now, is that means a precursor to the next one? Lockdown is going to come anyway, but that's these questions about meningitis, and that does bother me, because if you look at the conurbations of where they started in this university and this university, there's no correlation. There's not vaping together, right? How do they get placed? The security services internationally believe they've been placed in certain areas to let it grow and then start to become a pandemic.
Absolutely. So there was one woman that started investigating, actually, and you know, there were these 2 deaths from Kent, right? And actually, they, as horrendous as it is, nobody believes anything that is said anymore, right? So the government say this, we all go, okay, we just don't believe anything. And actually, one of the women researched into this one girl who had died, and apparently she had died of meningitis, but in 2023. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? They lie, and they actually create stories, and they, you know, they tell a truth or part truth, but they're exaggerating about the timeline. So what are they doing? Why are they doing this shit? And then now there's this new thing for dogs. They are trying to push for all the dogs to get vaccinated because they're saying that there's a neurovirus for dogs going around.
You look at that, they're going to hit. This is what they're doing. If you think of the Church of England, then you talk about the dogs, remove their dogs. Well, why would they want to remove dogs? Well, obviously, the Muslim faith doesn't like dogs. They see it as impure. Right, so you've got all these things. I'm going to go back to the original SARS virus, where they've looked to try to bring things in. The SARS virus in 2000 and whatever year, 3, whatever it was, they could not find a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
Over a long period of time. Yeah, the one that came out last time, they found a vaccine within 3 months. We all know SARS. The actual spike protein patent was done in 1990 by Pfizer. All the things we've gone through, we see that was a scam, and we all know that. And now most people should know it now. So if you look at all these things that are in place, it's either to scare us to put us in lockdown, or for another reason, to reduce the population. And it seems like, again, another crazy idea, but I'm old enough, and I don't, you two guys aren't. I was old enough as I watched Survivors, which was a program in the late 70s, early 80s, which is about rabies, where they said rabies are going to come and destroy, and people are going to live in communities, and they were hiding it to look after yourselves against zombies that are coming to that sort of mentality. These things have been placed in our way before. It's a similar situation.
Yeah. If you remember Wes Streeting, he came out this week and he said that this is not a national pandemic. Don't worry. I remember when COVID first came out, that those were the exact same words the government was saying. They said, this is an isolated situation. It's not a national crisis. Everyone is going to be okay. And then we know what happened, right? The lockdowns and everything else. Wes Streeting has come out with exactly the same words, parrot fashion, and saying this is not a national pandemic, so don't worry, etc., etc. And we know the government are always looking for ways to control, to lock us down, to control our everyday life, to take away our civil liberties. This has been constant for years, and I think people just aren't awake to it. I mean, I was in Connecticut this week. I've been here with my mum this week, and I talked to a lot of people, right? I got some footage I've not put out yet. I've been interviewing people, but I managed to catch a couple of people as well, some veterans, which we're going to show a little bit later, and actually the Labour MP here in Connecticut called Neil Griffiths, who's been here since 2005, confronted her outside the town hall. I was sat there with my mum, and she was very surprised when she walked out of the room, and she said to me, I've just spoken to my official photographer inside. I said, lovely, you're not inside now, you're outside in a public place, and I'm an independent journalist for Richie Rogue show, and I'm asking you some questions for the people of Leslie. So I'm going to show that a bit later. But when I was talking to people, and these were veterans, they didn't want to speak on camera on some of the stuff. They even told me who they were voting for, and it definitely wasn't Plaid Cymru or Welsh Labour, so I'll let you guess who. And they were saying, like, the government, literally, they feel as if they've been treated like shit. They went and served in the Gulf War. One of the guys, Andrew, who I'm due to meet, I'm going to go and see him, do a sit-down interview with him. He was telling me that what they did to those servicemen when they served, they were injecting them with things. They were giving them tablets. They were giving them all kinds of things. And one of the guys, you'll see on the video a bit later, he's not even able to produce children anymore because of all the drugs and the medicines that they filled him with to go out to fight in a Gulf War. And I said to him, have you been compensated for this? And he said, no, it's called the Connecticut Veteran Association, right? And I'm like, what? The question was this, though. I said, if you were called up now and you were younger, would you go? They were like, would we fuck? There is no way that we would fight for this government. Absolutely not. And that is the sentiment of the whole country. No matter what age you are, I don't think anybody, if they were called up right now, would fight for what we've got right now in this Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
And you've actually hit something really important, and I can't believe we haven't talked about this girl. We haven't spoken, obviously, since I was away yesterday. I met up with a good friend of mine who is a decorated paratrooper. Now, he is a man who's fought in many wars. And in one of the wars in Iraq, he saved 100 Marines. He has an American Purple Star, what it's called. They ran 9.5 miles through the Sahara Desert with full kit on, and they saved 100 Marines, and he got a special award for that. He told me about the drugs that he has to take, right, for his PTSD, right? I think it's 5 drugs. And he told me that everybody that's fought a war has these 4 or 5 drugs given to them. So that means that each of them is given the same drugs as a veteran. So when you go into the doctors, they'll ask if you're a veteran. If it's veteran, yes, they get these drugs. Now, he believes, and he's going to a special clinic to come off of these drugs now, because he believes it has dumbed down his thought process and the way that he is. And he's convinced, and yesterday we discussed it yesterday evening, he's convinced that this actual process affects all of our veterans to dumb them down against fighting against the establishment. He's convinced, 100%.
Yeah.
And that just happened yesterday, and it really, I need to investigate that, because it seems to be across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going to play this video of these veterans, right? Listen to what they had to say. So I'm here with two veterans. They've been celebrating a gentleman who did so much heroic stuff today in the town hall just across the road over there in Clanley. Gentlemen, what was the day about today?
Today was Idwell Davis, who's a member of the Clanley Veterans Association. Yeah. I'm Andrew Brown, this is Wayne Roberts.
Yeah.
We're both members of the Clanley Veterans Association, and Idwell was presented the British Empire Medal by Sarah Edwards, the Lord Lieutenant of Dyfed, for his good work in the community. He wrote a book, Gone But Not Forgotten, about the history of Clanley, and he also done a lot of charitable work for the Clanley Hospital League of Friends. So he was nominated in the King's Honours list last year, 2025,
yeah.
And today his family has taken receipt of it because he's passed away, unfortunately.
How old was he when he passed away?
98.
No, good old age, that, isn't it? That is. And you guys served, obviously. You served and you went out and did all you did. But what does it mean to you guys going out and serving your country and your fellow men and women, of course, and them as well? You know, you've sacrificed so much for us, and we're really appreciative. I'm an independent journalist for Richie Rogue and Filtered Show, and we just want to get your take on today, but also I want to know more about the Clanley Veterans Association which you're representing. So what is it about?
I think it gets the actual, it's all cap badges, and we get together and we do things, and it's kind of like a family.
Yeah.
That we've left our regiments, but we've also, we're still kind of army orientated.
Yeah.
So we keep that like that special
bond.
Do you think there's enough support for our veterans generally now, not just in Clanley?
Okay, going back years ago.
So when did you start? Sorry.
I joined the army in 1981.
Okay.
I left in 2004, and then I rejoined the Welsh Guards in 2009 for Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It's got better. It has got better.
Yeah.
The veterans who are suffering, they've got to reach out and request our help and go through with it.
Right.
Go through with it. You know, you got things that are coming out now, like, you know, for example, veterans cards. You know, that's just to sort of show your GP mental health services that you did serve. It's a genuine thing.
Yeah.
It's better than it has been. It could be better.
Yeah, because you know, we hear your stories about veterans on the streets, and they don't get access to things as quick as other people, and it's like I've never served. I'm 51, right, and I've got greatest respect for all of our veterans. And when I look at the kind of landscape, not just of Wales and Clanley, but the UK, I'm a Clanley boy. I feel like veterans don't get the support that they deserve. I mean, that's my feeling, right? It might not be yours, but you've served that.
The government, basically, when you come out the army, you're dislodged, and the government doesn't want to know you.
Is that the sentiment? Is that the feeling?
I know Wayne is saying,
that's
you're
me
gone.
personally.
That's your story,
that's my story. You know, and it's people like Andrew that I ended up meeting, and and other ex-veterans.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. But me personally, I think the government are a load of shit.
So if there's one thing you would want to send out to people to support the Clanley Veterans Association, because this is why I'm interviewing you guys. I mean, how can we find you guys? How can we get support for you guys?
We meet once a month. We meet in the Clanley Conservative Club. It's the second Tuesday.
You're not a Conservative, are you?
No, we meet there because it's not.
I was a joke.
No, I'm not a Tory.
Okay, yeah.
Well, can I say when I'm going to vote next?
Of course, yeah, you can say what you want.
I'm going to vote Reform next.
You're going to vote Reform? Yeah, all right, okay.
I think.
Well, a lot of people are, though, because I think they're standing up for the veterans. They've set them an association, and I think what's happened. I've just interviewed Neil Griffiths now, and I've asked her those same questions with respect. I've asked her respectfully.
With respect. And I'd vote for Enoch Powell if he was still alive. but that's just me personally.
Yeah, of course. But I think the important thing is, right, is that we got to create an awareness of what you guys have done and how you've served. Because you told me some personal stories earlier, which I'm not going to put on camera because it's personal to you. What you went through personally, and I was in tears. I was in tears.
Every soldier has his own story.
Yeah.
But it's things like the Connecticut Veterans Association where we can get together, and then if I'll talk to Andrew. If I got an issue, I'll go to Andrew. And
we met on a bus. I'm a bus driver first Cymru.
Really?
Wayne was a passenger.
Oh wow!
And then I started talking and realised he was in the army. And that was about 8-9 years ago. We're big mates now.
That's fantastic.
We're big mates.
Just one last question. So, Keir Starmer, and as you know, he is trying to bring prosecutions against those who served in Northern Ireland, right? And he's done this on a pro bono, right, basis. This has all come out. This is factual. This is not like conspiracy. I mean, I was in London last week speaking with veterans who served over in Northern Ireland.
I've done 5 tours.
And I am absolutely disgusted by the fact that he would even consider doing this. And Jerry Adams has now been let off. They took a civil case against him. Yesterday it was,
in London,
I mean,
it's bent. The government is bent, right? And it's exactly the same as me being, I can't have children because of the NAPS tablets, the BATS tablets, anthrax and bubonic plague. The government don't want to know us, and that's all we've got is places.
And no compensation, no compensation.
No, nothing. And that's all we've got is people like Andrew and the veterans that we end up getting together and we look after each other.
We have trips out, we have days out, and we support military funerals.
Fantastic.
So it's a family request, a standard there, a guard of honour, we'll do it. That's today was a bit of a guard of honour for Idwell's family.
Yeah, that's brilliant. But guys, there we go, guys. I got to be honest, when I spoke to those guys prior to that interview, I spoke to them when they came out of the memorial, and when he was telling me his story, I just broke. I mean, obviously I didn't get on camera because the guy, his life has been completely destroyed by the fact he had to take all these tablets, Andrew, Rogue, injections and everything else, and it's obviously it changed his life, and yet there's no compensation for them. It's great to see the camaraderie between them now, but like, and I asked them as well off camera. I mean, like I said earlier in our show tonight, if you were called up again, would you serve? And you hear what they thought about Keir Starmer, right? And the government, they're shit, they're bent. But they said a lot more off camera. In fact, it was the other guy, the chap Andrew, who was he leads the whole organisation of Connecticut Veterans. He said to me, he said, Rich, can you edit a lot of stuff out? Because he said a lot of stuff that I had to edit out, right? Literally, because he was afraid of damaging the brand. So I just want to say to people, if you want to know more, please just Google Connecticut Veterans Association and support them. If you're watching the broadcast, please do that because they were a great bunch of guys. I met, there's about 15 of them all in all. Nia Griffiths went there because she's the Labour MP for Connecticut. She had to do that to show a bit of face, obviously, you know, to show her support. And I managed to capture her outside, right? So he was like, oh, right, I'm going to get to her. And I was sat there feeding the birds or the squirrels with my mum, which she normally does. So can I just play this video of Nia Griffiths and we'll get straight back. Nia Griffiths, hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Richard. I'm an independent journalist. Just want to ask a couple of questions of the event today. It was for the veterans, wasn't it? I'm going to speak to them now in Wetherspoons in a few moments.
Right. Well, look. There was an official photographer there, so I don't want to.
But we're in a public place. You've been the MP here since 2005, right? Connecticut has gone downhill, let's be honest about it. Our town centre is an absolute state. It's a complete mess. Keir Starmer, obviously, he's promised all these things. He's done about 16 U-turns on his manifesto. I mean, we've got the Senate elections coming up on the 7th of May. Are you hopeful that Labour will still be in power on May the 7th?
Well, what's important is that we do the very best for Connecticut, and we now have some pride in place funding, and after the election, because the county says we can't do it before, after the election there'll be an opportunity for a lot of people to become involved and to have their say, so that we can do something that we see fit for the town centre, and that's completely separate from whatever happens in the Senate elections.
Of course, because of course, You're an MP, obviously. Lee Waters is the MS for Connecticut. Do you think that reform is a big threat to you right now, given the polling, where they're at the moment?
What I think is important that we each set out our programme and then people will make up their own minds. It's up to them which things they want to prioritise, isn't it? And so, let's have that election, and we see the results there, rather than speculating about it.
Of course, we're going to crystal balls, have we? So what do you think your chances are of, in the Senate elections, of Lee Waters retaining his seat? Because you know, as Reform, we've got Gareth Beers, who will be standing probably, and he's came pretty close to your seat as well, I think by 1,500 votes or something like that, was it? So you nearly lost your seat, and you've been since 2005, so you've been an MP here in Cletty for a very long time.
Well, as you know, Lee Waters is standing down, so he's not going to be our candidate in the May elections. Okay. And so obviously people will have the information about our candidates that will be coming out. At the same time, I assume that you'll be publishing information about your candidates.
Well, I'm not with any political party. I'm apolitical. I'm an independent journalist. I'm not with no party. I don't support any party. It was just a question I wanted to ask you as well. Now, the concerns people have in Cletty, there's a lot. You probably get them all the time from your caseworkers, loads of stuff, right? The drug issues in Cletty. My mum's here today. This year, she came and requested for cameras, CCTV around here, and asked for cameras because she comes here, there's children here, they're injecting drugs around here in front of my mother, and I'm going to go to you, but nothing's been done about it.
Well, I think the important thing is that we need to take that up with the county council, because obviously they have this building, they're in charge of this building, and the town council's in charge of the park. So those are things.
We understand that, but you're the MP for Cletty. You have powers to be able to speak to the council. We know that.
I can speak to the council, but I am not the person that tells them what to do. The council decides on.
Have you spoken to them yet? Because my mum has put letters in.
I have spoken to them frequently about some of the issues that we have in the town centre, particularly
about CCTV around this building here, where there's children playing in the parks and there's needles on the floor in the parks.
We have raised the issue about anti-social behaviour, including some of the things that you described in this park, many times with the county council. I can assure you that time after time we are raising those things. So, if there are any other particular things you want to come and talk to me about, you're very welcome to come and have an appointment in my office.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
Through all of those things. Okay?
Yeah. One final thing before we go. So, do you think Keir Starmer's going to last? I know you're going to say you support him because, of course, you got to, the party whip, right? But is it? Come on, he's doing a terrible job for the country. Look at it. His popularity ratings are terrible.
The system in this country is that you're elected for 5 years. He was elected in 2024. We'll have an election in 2024.
Yeah, but on a manifesto with the people, a contract with the people, that he is actually. He has lost the trust of the people.
As I said, you will have the opportunity in 2029 to.
I think it'll be earlier than that, don't you?
Give your judgment.
I think it'll be earlier than that, don't you? Snap election.
No, I don't.
And Angela Rayner.
No, I don't think it'll be a snap.
Would you support Angela Rayner?
I'm telling you now.
Would you support Angela Rayner?
I have to stop you there. We've got to be in body court in 10 minutes. So.
That's fine. So you're not giving me a real answer. So it's politicians' answer you give me, basically, and you're telling me. So do you support? So do you support Keir Starmer as the Prime Minister of this country?
Of course I do.
You do.
Yes. We should all be.
So the people in Cletty want to know that you, as the MP for this constituency, you support Keir Starmer.
Well, yes, indeed, I do.
You do you? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, that's her seat lost.
What a tool.
I mean, it was from the playbook of like the politician's answer.
That.
You are Rogue?
He said, "What a tool," and I was like, "I'd have said worse than that."
I know. I had to be a bit polite, like, because I thought, sometimes when you're doing this like independent journalism, you can be too aggressive. But you've got to get your point across.
You've been accused of that. People have been saying on your ex that that was really aggressive and that you shouldn't have done it that way. You should have actually had an appointment and seen her and had a chat with her.
Yeah, but that's not how it works, because they don't give you appointments. That's the thing. She mentioned at the end, "I'll come to see me in the office." You don't get an appointment. My mother has tried 3 times, right? So this the town hall in Cletty, where the discussion was there about drug users and needles on the floor, and there's kids there. My mum goes there. He has got nowhere, absolutely nowhere. When the question was asked to her about why can't you, because she's blaming the council, that's what they do, right? They blame the council. MPs have influence over councils. It's as simple as that. We all know that. And, I just, when I spoke to, you say that, Rogue, but I had a lot of people message me as well, a couple of Reform candidates, actually, in Cletty, saying, "Fantastic interview, Rich, given the fact we know you normally have a big rant. We thought you were quite polite." So, generally,
you can't win, can you?
I think you're too soft. I'd have gone for a jugular.
I know you were that way.
Another pathetic excuse from Elizabeth says, imagine admitting they like Starmer and blah, blah, blah. I mean, listen, it's just typical politician, and she'll get voted out. And she's been there 20 years too long.
Yeah.
Your mother's far younger than she does, and your mother's not that old.
Yeah,
do you know what? She reminds me of a cartoon character, that woman, you know, like a ginger, like curtains. Like, she's just ridiculous. And she, again, doesn't give any answers directly.
No,
it's the same as Keir.
Somebody here says, Fanny, on my page, says, politicians have a PhD in bullshitting.
Yeah, they do. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
And I think one of the things as well, when she was talking about Llanelli, she was like, oh, we're doing this and we're doing that. But if you walked around the town centre of Llanelli, you got shops boarded up, nail bars, vape shops, Turkish barbers. It's the same across the whole of the UK, though, because it's just like we've lost the heart and the community of our town centres. They've been ripped out completely. And not just Labour, this was under Conservatives as well, right? And there needs to be this regeneration into our towns. I mean, I know in Scotland, I've been to Glasgow Andrew a few times, right? And it's just, it's like, I just don't understand how politicians, it's because they live in this London-centric bubble, where when you go to London, as I was last week, doing some filming for the Richie Rogue show, it's completely different. Like, they're all kind of, hey, how are you? And it's all posh, all these nice buildings. But when you go to these local communities, in the places that we're from, you can see the reality of what's going on. And people are like, they see it. And I spoke to a lot of people after our interview, what they thought about Neil Griffiths. I didn't manage to film her because I didn't want to be on camera. And they were like, she's done nothing for Llanelli whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. But she's been in office for 20 years because people, by and large, here in Wales, they vote for Labour because of Margaret Thatcher. And it's like, but I think that window is changing. I think people are waking up and realising that it is time for change. And a lot of the people I spoke to said to me, we're voting for reform. I asked them, have you heard of it in advance? They said no. I asked them if they heard about Restore Britain. They said no. I asked them if they heard about Rupert Lowe. They said yes. Now, that was very interesting, very telling.
Yeah, when you talk about Advance UK, I mean, I'm not into politics, but that Prosser is a tosser. That's the other name for the guy. Is that the guy that leads it in Wales? I know you don't want to discuss that. But
we can discuss it, mate. We don't care.
He is a tosser. I mean, if I look at some of the way that it's all about egos and it's all about them, and it should be all about the people and people they represent. And if they have that sort of drive and determination that us good people want, we do the best for our communities. They just do the best for themselves. And I don't know quite what happens between being a good candidate in a local by-election who seems to be saying all the right things, and then they get into that position, they just ignore everything they were told before, and they do whatever they want, line their own pockets. And it just, I mean, people are saying on here, on my feed here, saying they don't bother voting because they just know it's a waste of time because they don't believe any politician. And it really, and here's a really good point, and I'm going to lead on to Rupert Lowe. Now, I don't know Rupert Lowe whatsoever. I did the vape inquiry through one of the ladies who was one of my followers, contacted me and says, we have a real problem. My daughter's getting stalked by an Asian gentleman. So we tracked this guy down and I went to his house, as you do. You just knock on the door politely. And I spoke to him and made a very polite request for him not to bother this lady's daughter again, which he would either agree to or not agree to. But thankfully, he agreed with my persuasion. And I told his mother and father exactly the same. Now, that led me then to something else, which was kind of a bit of a surprise, about other mothers coming forward as well about the vape shops. And those vape shops were grooming, where grooming gangs are. And this will come back to Rupert Lowe in a minute. But that investigation took us on to a whole spiral in Glasgow and Lanarkshire. So much so that the mother who made the first inquiry to me, she came out with us on how we handle these things. And she saw it firsthand what my team do. And obviously she quite enjoyed the experience. I think it was quite exciting. But essentially, we found out a lot about it. And then we, of course, shut them down. We looked at the flats that they owned and we made it very clear in the communities that they were not allowed or wanted. And what they were doing was obviously not too nice. Now, that then became a big discussion point. So much so that Rupert Lowe saw the opportunity after our investigation to then put up a highlight about vape shops. So then went to Parliament and then the Daily Express and other newspapers came up with about vape shops and the grooming. Now, that is because a politician took that opportunity to see something that we had done and then presented it as his own idea. And that's the thing about politicians that I don't like. It's the fact is, first of all, the police should be doing it in the first place. But the fact they will then take that opportunity to highlight, yeah, we'll jump on the bandwagon. That's what they all do. And Rupert Lowe's no different, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was speaking to a senior figure today within Advance UK, and I can't reveal too much. And I know Rogue spoke to him as well. But if you knew what was going on, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And I think Advance UK, as much as there's some very good people in there, and we've got good friends in there as well, since Rupert Lowe's come on the scene, you know, they are hemorrhaging members like at a rate I've never seen. Literally, they truly are. And if you've looked, you know, because they're going to have to declare their expenditure, as you know, every political party has to. And it's quite shocking what money they've spent and where they've spent it for certain things and certain people. It's just appalling. And I think what we're going to see is, to be honest, my advice is no, I would just shut Advance UK down. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's an ego trip. Whilst I still, unlike Rogue, I don't know, Rogue can speak for herself, I still like Ben as a person, but I think for them, certainly here in Wales, I mean, they've got a cat-telling chance of winning a single seat. And we've heard, you know, Faith Jarvis this week having 2 interviews he put out, recorded at the same time in Ben's office in London, actually, because Ben doesn't like coming to Wales, apparently. So literally sat there, and there was lies, because first of all, Pete Prosser said that they had 16 candidates for every single constituency they were going to stand, and they were looking for more, etc. Then you have the national director, Richard Thompson, come on and say, oh, no, we're just targeting a few seats. I mean, but why lie to the people? At least when we were doing it, Rogue, when we were traveling up and down the country and having our meetings with our members, we told them straight. We told them straight. The answer is simple. It's too early to stand candidates in the Senate elections. You're going to look stupid. You're going to waste money and get very disappointed. And get into 2029, people are just going to laugh at you. But they did not pay any attention to people on the ground who have got the experience and the knowledge of what it is to live and work and, you know, in Wales. And they just don't listen, because they live in this London-centric bubble where they think everything's about London, and they want to get on podcasts, they want to go on TV, they want to be on. It's not about that. It's about your ordinary mother and father, uncle and auntie, you know, whose bins aren't being collected, or, you know, they're struggling to pay their mortgages or their rent, or they can't find a house. That's what matters to people. Not
so Helen has just said that, in her honest opinion, she thinks that Pete Prosser, there is something very wrong with him. And again, you know, you look at how he came in, and it was like he was ready at the back door for when we left. And he was then onboarded very, very, very quickly. And then there were a few lies around that. We were told that they didn't even know who he was and that he hadn't been onboarded. And,
correct.
you know, you then look at actually the amount of damage that he's actually done in Wales. And I think Helen's completely right. There isn't something right. You know, there is something complete. Well, there's nothing right. You know, he's completely off the chart. It appears he has no history or no experience in what he's doing, and it's just evident. You look at what he puts out, and you know, if you are the Reflection of Advance, if I'm the Reflection of Advance, or whomever, you know, you have to be, look, forget professional, but you have to know what you're on about. And like the professionalism, I think people can take it too far. And I think everybody wants this kind of like really sort of like strong professional story. You got to be relatable. And that is so much more important, to have that, you know, relatable essence where you can talk to me and I can talk to you as an everyday single mother, as an everyday single father, as an everyday widow, as an everyday widower, you know, as an everyday disabled person who is struggling and wants to come and actually talk to us. And we are the face to be able to actually say, this is what the party believes, this is how we will look after you, and this is what we will do, is more important than actually calling people in as a car salesman and saying, come in, everybody, welcome. You can get 87,000 a year if you come and join the Senate. Like, come on, man. This is about the people. This is about loving, you know, every single person in Wales and honouring them as a Welsh person or an honorary Welsh person, you know, who actually need help or want to understand how we can push forward as a country. So Pete Prosser, Helen, I am in full agreement, my darling, is fucked, mate. Absolutely fucked. And that's where it's at.
Let me say something there, Rogue, is that every politician that we've investigated I've found to be corrupt. I've yet to find a politician that is not corrupt. And I'm sure there must be one somewhere. And I'm going to, it's a bit of a carte blanche situation. And I know we've all got friends and maybe in politics, whatever. I can tell you, every investigation we've ever carried out on any politician, there's always something that gives me a concern. And it's usually financial. Now, if you look at the current parliament, there's 115 current sitting MPs who have been investigated or found guilty of, in the time of the parliament, of child molestation, right? 115. I found 343 councillors across England and Wales since the previous election, that period, that were found guilty, not found looked at, found guilty of child molestation, child abuse. Now, if you look at the police figures, you can look at how many police between 2009 and 2023, the figures that I've got, 67% of the people that were prosecuted in the police force were guilty of molestation of children or females in terms of abuse. Now that percentage is massive. So when you look at that whole organization of police and judiciary, and we can talk about satanic ritual abuse and all these other ones that they're involved in, that is significant. And that corruption is right across all of our governments. And I'll give a good example. We have the vape shop thing, which we investigated. We have found links, which I can't say the name of the politician at the moment because we're still finalizing it, to another politician who knows and is aware of what's happening within these vape shops, 79 of them. Now, the Scottish government, on the other hand, are involved in a fraud, which I'm going to say right now is about the vape fire in Glasgow. I can confidently say that. The building that was there was burnt down through whatever. An accident was not an accident. This building was bought in 2005. The building did not have any improvements done to it. The architect, who also gets involved in the delivery of that building, went forward with a takeaway shop to be part of that building. That was returned down by the council. Network Rail are the only company that will allow vehicles with loading and unloading for materials without the right permits. Everything else has to be permitted. Those Network Rail vehicles were in the building the week before it went suspiciously on fire. That building needed to be changed so the whole building development on that whole front, it could be done. The people who back that, the Scottish office, and that comes from the SNP. Now, I'm looking at that in total. So I'm linking that, and I can tell you that conclusively, that building, the architect who designed that building within the Teesbit was also responsible for the fire certification. But he's also the same architect responsible for the insurers. In other words, for fire damage. So on one hand, you can get a building on fire. The next part, you can talk about what the damage was and so on. The only part of that building that did not get evacuated, right? So imagine the building there, the building beside it all got evacuated, was a migrant hotel. That was directly beside that building.
My God.
Because the fire certification and the fire retardant parts are in that were meant to be okay. You had 50 migrants in that hotel, which were not evacuated. But all the other buildings on either side, apart from this one building, was not evacuated. The architect behind that was the same man. Darren Glennie is his name, actually, just to tell you that. Now, all of that...
Dan Glennie.
Darren Glennie, yeah, that's his name. Now, this architect designer also is responsible for NHS buildings that go on fire, yeah, and insurers, which he does both. He also has links with the vape shops, coming back to vape shops now, and another MP, because those vape shops with this other MP, I'll tell you his name somewhere. He is the leader of the Labour Party up in Scotland. Now, their links are gets really damning, because those links between that and building those buildings, there's also now care homes which have kind of gone astray. So these care homes that are run by the same people with the vape shops that are linked to this building right? And so there's these links all along it. The interesting thing is these are building care homes for 16 to 18-year-olds. So the vape shops get them from 14 to 16, where they get them groomed, and they get sent to a care home, 16 to 18, run by the same organization, and they get lost in the system. All these links lead back to money and government. And I cannot tell you, so when you talk about politicians, I have no faith in any parliament or any politician. I'm saying there will probably be good ones somewhere, but everyone I find just leads back to the same thing. It's follow the money, and the children are all that matters. And that to me is a big issue.
So let me ask you a question then, right? Are you not going to vote at all? Because, you know, your vote is like gold dust, and your vote is really, really important. And as much as we think they're all a bunch of fucking tossers, the truth is you have to, not you don't have to, but it is important, I believe, to not vote, because if you don't vote, what you're doing is holding back what could be that one vote that actually makes that difference.
I've made the decision. I will never vote again. And you can, I know what you'll say, and you'll say a vote is a vote. I understand that. My position is, I'm so sickened by the way that our country is run by any party. And I've seen this whole country come to a ruin, whether it's maybe red or with blue or whatever the color is. And I don't believe that voting in the current system, I'm not talking about first past the post, I'm talking about how we're governed, the accountability of government. If the government was accountable to the decision they make, I'd vote every single time. With no accountability, they do whatever they want. And that's why I don't like voting for people in power. Put me in as Prime Minister, then you can vote for me and I'll do it. But we're very few and far between. But I'm serious, I get the reason about voting. I've always voted up until recently, but I'm so sickened now with how we're governed. I find it difficult for me to now say, I want to vote for something that I believe in when I don't believe in the system. And it's a bad thing for me to say, but that's just me being honest.
No, you're absolutely entitled to say what you want to say. I was like you for a long time. I just couldn't be bothered to vote. And I just thought, you know, nothing's going to change. Like I can vote, but nothing is going to change. But I think now being like sort of at the heart of it, you just understand that everybody's vote actually does make that difference. I appreciate you don't want to, and I appreciate there's nobody that you even want to vote for, because everybody chats chatter. And when everybody chats chatter and nobody believes anything, like you said, you know, we're just looking at it and it's like they're talking about, you know, the different vaccines. Now they're all worried because over 1 million teenagers have missed their vaccine, and, you know, they're going to put a call out, and soon they'll probably make it not just mandatory, they'll make it law, you know, and then that goes against everything for our body, you know, autonomy. And we are suffering at their hands. But that is Labour and Conservatives, and then, or Conservatives then Labour. But then, you know, could Rupert Lowe make that difference? Could you know, I think Ben Habib could have done. I actually think he could have made a difference, right? I do think so. But then something went horribly wrong. Something just kind of this massive shift.
It's weak. It'd be like, in my opinion, you bring people into your party, the leader takes the responsibility. Bring Tosser in, comes in, and the way you guys are treated, then to me that's weak leaders. That's how I would view it from outside. And you come to Rupert, he could not even run a football club properly. He ruined Southampton Football Club. Now this is a football club. They brought in a rugby guy to be the coach. Now, I'm sorry, right? That might be a bit left field. They ruined that club and they dropped out of that division. Now, Southampton is not my team, but if you can't run that football club, and I can only speak from experience of when I see Rupert jumping on the bandwagon of things that are popular. Now, I agree with this. Let's get everybody out of the country out, and I'm all for that. But politicians have a history of saying the right thing to get your vote, and that just scares me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a cynic. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I hear that. I do hear that.
You know, so with that in mind, with the voting, Andrew, we've got this.
But then it's like, who the fuck do you vote for? Like, you know, you've got Ben, you've got Rupert, and then there's like this kind of tussle with them two, and then, you know, you want people to make a change, you know, and you want it to be a distinct change, and it has to be, you know, the guys all talk about, like, this is not going to be easy and this is not going to be comfortable. We are going to have a massive shake-up, and England, the UK, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland has to be as it once was.
Yeah, but Rupert's hardly Bob, is he? His name puts me off straight away. Should I say that?
Rupert the Bear. What he used to wear? What suit did he use? Wasn't he like a red and white or blue? What did Rupert the Bear used to wear?
What, Rupert the Bear?
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, red and yellow, wasn't it? Unless you're part of the Mandela effect, you'd be green.
Right, speaking about all that stuff, we discussed earlier in previous episodes as well, Andrew.
Let's just kind of figure out what we go with next, really, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you, yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay, sorry. I thought you were... call the island, because we've been going on about this, right?
So you can hear who?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, yeah.
You can hear who?
No, can you hear me? No, I don't think you can.
No?
No, I think she's muted me. All right, Andrew, so call the
I don't
island.
think anybody else can hear him.
Can you give us an update?
You can hear him on...
Can you give us an update on Call the Island?
There's nothing coming through.
And what's going on there, Andrew?
Yeah, I tell you about Call the Island. So, as you probably know, we've been all over this case, and it's been traumatic in some respects, because we found such a lot of information which is extremely concerning. The way that the treatment of the survivors and the victims of this has been nothing short of horrendous. In fact, I spoke to Natalie, one of the ladies tonight, who I know really well. We talked about the case, and it's becoming more and more apparent the Catholic Church are doing everything they can to deliberately extend the pain of all of the survivors. Right. So I'm going to give you an example. Father Mansell, which is a person who has been highlighted in the middle of this discussion of this investigation, and the church have defended this man, and they've used him to, let's say, gather information through being a person befriending some people within, let's say, the survivors groups, getting information, and then suddenly they end up dying. Now, that sounds like a Miss Marple operation, but actually there's a lot of truth in this. In fact, I understand now the church are investigating him at long last, and he's going to go to a tribunal, which means he will be derobed. Well, he likes to derobe himself, obviously, in front of women normally, so that doesn't have many surprises. But what I don't want is, I don't want this man getting away with what he has done. He has actually been involved in many things which I find despicable, including one of the survivors who was abused as a baby, befriending the mother, and actually so much so getting into a relationship with the mother, much to extent the survivors, let's say, emotional stability of what really happened. And then the mother dies in mysterious circumstances. Now, as that comes around, there are 3 other instances where he's also done the same sort of thing. So this man has been investigated by the church, but we don't want to allow him then to get let off by the police. Now, the police in Difford are also a massive problem to this investigation. And we actually just found out that one of the people who died on the island, a lady called Rita, she died after, she was 95 years of age when she died, and she died of carbon monoxide poisoning. We have a witness that saw the vents of that house being blocked up. The day after she died, the vents were unblocked by this particular person. Now, the coroner, to his word now, has investigated it again, and he's referred it, the death, to the South Wales Police, so away from Difford Police. So this investigation is going to get really deep, and I believe that will come out that she was put to death through this vent being blocked up deliberately. Now, this lady had information that she was trying to get out at the time, and that to me is a major concern. So we have that ongoing. We also have the fact that we have other things going. So we have the SAR, so the subject access request, by 2 of the survivors given to this particular lady. This lady's Alison Parkinson, and she is the person responsible and called the island for that. This is the same lady who was left her previous 2 posts under a cloud. because the Ofsted reports, or the reports from the departments, that the way she ran social work was not up to standard, significantly so. But yet she was recruited by Caldy Island. The way she's handled the SAR requests of 2 of the survivors has been nothing short of shocking. The way she treats them, dismissive and argumentative, not the way you should be looking after people that have been traumatized by their experiences. So we have a whole lot of other things ongoing. And actually, the Pembrokeshire Council have said Caldy Island is not fit for child safety. And now they've withdrawn that after they issued that statement. So there's a little bit jiggly pokey going there. And I would have to say the boatmen who are the issue for me, who deliver those children to that island, one of them has just been charged for rape of a 23-year-old woman. It's not the first time he's been charged for and found guilty of assaulting women. In fact, his son is inside at the moment for wife battering, woman battering, and rape. Right. So this is the people the boatmen take to the island, and this particular person has now been charged. And I'm delighted to say that it looks well. It's a case that will not take much to work out. But for me, the whole island has a darkness about it. Now, there was 52 or 53 children being abused. But I think there's far more than that. In fact, the inquiry indicated that there would be more to find. Now, what I can say is that we'll be visiting the island, and we are going to go after absolutely every piece of evidence to ensure that justice is given to the victims. And I can tell you, I've got a whole list of things I want to do, which includes uncovering where other bodies might be.
That's going to be grueling.
Well, I think we were looking at April. We were looking at, were we, Andrew, going over there and doing some of that work?
You definitely need protection around you. You absolutely need, we're coming, but we are going to need protection. So we have got like spiritual people in our chats, and we have people who understand light and darkness, and we will just ask that when we do go, that people will actually protect us, and we will take some crystals over as well, won't we? And we will basically stand there, and we know there's going to be a lot of work that we have to do there, but we need protection.
They hid Paul Ashton, one of the UK's worst paedophiles, for a period of 8 years. They hid him for 8 years on that island. The banks of computers that were there were taken away and destroyed when he was arrested.
My God.
I know from viewing videos on the darknet that there are videos that they produce on the island. And I'm confident that anybody who looks at that island, especially if they're spiritual, there's a darkness about that island.
Yeah.
It's up to us to uncover that. Now for me, I've broken satanic rituals before. When you're fighting these type of things with abuse, these satanic rituals are significant, not just in terms of who you have to break it with, the human form. But you're fighting demonic forces that you're not aware of in normal life. You don't believe they are real.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We have had 3, and with it, we discussed Trevor on a previous show, where Trevor unfortunately took his life because he couldn't cope. And I have another lady who's also unfortunately passed away over the last couple of weeks. And these people are dedicated, and they have found these dark forces, they are real. And satanic ritual abuse is massive. And we investigate one in Glasgow, or the West Coast, which includes judiciary, people from hospitals, doctors, nurses, and other people involved. So this happens across society. But this island in particular, everybody you speak to that's from a spiritual perspective said it's dark. And I have no question it isn't. It's something.
We need prayer. We need prayer as well. We've got some really strong Christians who can intercess for us, and we need to make sure that we're covered, because like you said, the darkness is really strong. And if you look at really what we're fighting, sort of every day, we've got the Brotherhood, we've got satanic rituals and the Fabians, we've got the Masons. There are a whole lot of different groups. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story, right? Because I'm going to end it on this, because I'm going to go, because I just think I need to have a rest after my camping trip. But I once went into a house, and I was looking to buy a house, and I walked into this one house, and something in my spirit just felt really odd, like really, really weird. And I just kept on feeling something wasn't right. And on the side in the kitchen was this picture, and it was a picture of a sheath, right? And it was obviously all of the, you know, the straw, the hay, all coming out. You had all of it sticking out. And it said something about the bread and the maker and the giver of life, right? Now, I saw that and my spirit was like, that's not right. That's and I've grown up in the church. So I'm looking at this kind of going, that's not right. That actually is supposed to be depicting God and Jesus, but it's not. And I don't feel comfortable. But I kept on walking around the house and I was with some of the people. And we walked up to the top floor, and in the A-frame was an inscription, and I will never say it out loud again, because I at that time was completely naive and completely just kind of, oh wow, look at that, there's a poem, there's just this really incredible piece of like inscription. I read it out loud, and I kid you not, right, there was like a rumbling, there was like this kind of really weird distortion that happened, and I started to go, what the fuck have I done? What the fuck have I done? And that was within the spiritual. And it talks about, and the only thing I'm going to say, it talks about the up being down and the down being up, so it's upside down. So it talks about them swapping, so God becomes this and that becomes that, right? So it was a proper satanic prayer that I'd read out, and I hadn't any clue that I'd read it out. That night, I've got photos to prove it, and in fact I will put the photos up next time we have a conversation. I'd like to talk a little bit about this because I was so frightened. I was actually crying in the car going, I've done something, I can feel it, and something really bad's going to happen. I need you to pray for me. So this lady kind of said, oh, you're being really, really like dramatic. I was like, you have to pray for me. She prayed for me, but it didn't work because the darkness is very dark and very powerful. And I don't think she meant it. And that night, I started getting this really, really, really bad chest infection. So bad, I could barely breathe. And I took some medication and I went to bed, and it was a medication that makes you go sleepy. I got into bed and I heard somebody calling me. And it was like up here, and they were calling my name. And I sort of woke up, and then I couldn't hear anything. And I was looking around the house, and I was trying to like get my bearings. The whole house had set on fire. There was an electrical fault in the TV that had never happened before, ever. And the whole house was on fire. And the smoke alarm had melted, and it was just hanging down, and it was no longer beeping, but it was outside, like in the apartments. And so I had to go bang on the door. I ran outside, I completely collapsed, and I was rushed into hospital. And as I was in hospital, they put me in an incubator because they have to give you the oxygen when you've been in a really, really bad house fire. And I was so poorly, but weirdly, now listen to this part, they have to do a test in your main artery to check, you know, how much carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide is in, right? And they looked at me. So I had black all up my nose, all down my throat. My eyebrows were singed, my eyelashes were singed, and my hair had gone from like down here up to here. And I was in the incubator, and these guys came and they sat next to me, and it was the fire brigade and the ambulance, and they basically gave their last respects to me. And I was there just kind of like in and out, not feeling very well at all. And the hospital came back and said, this is really bizarre. You have been in a house fire, your whole hair, everything is indicative of that. But from your blood test, there's no damage. So, right, prayer does work. So I'm just going to explain. It didn't work because I was in the house fire, but when I was in the incubator, like literally the blood was actually okay. So they were all gobsmacked that I'd survived it. And they actually said to me, we have seen lesser fires and you've survived, and basically they hadn't survived, but you have survived in one of the worst fires that we've ever seen. And then when I was released from the hospital, I was sent back to a woman's house to rest because I was still quite fragile. Although I survived it, I still felt like shitty. And then that night, somebody was reversing and smashed into my car and took the whole of the side of my car out. And the day that I'd been in hospital, my insurance ran out. You would not make this shit up. So when I tell you it's real, I am not joking. And I am telling you 100%, if you are treading into the darkness and you are starting to mess about and trying to reveal by bringing light into a situation, or in my case, at that moment, there was a naivety. I just thought it was this beautiful inscription and I read it and it was a true satanic prayer. That was the most horrendous time of my life. So 3 massive things happened to me, obviously the insurance, the house fire, the whole house was burnt down. I will put photos up next time and show you, because what I do know is that when we do go to the Caldy Islands, we are going to need prayer. We are massively.
I'm going to ask if you can indulge me then, because I want to give that, for people listening and watching, I'm going to support what you've just said. Now, I went after Chris Hargreaves from The Shield, right? We knew there was a demonic part to Chris Hargreaves because of his history, things with the Class A drugs or how he's trying to take the spirit or the energy from a woman, from the mouth, from the stomach, and would pull it out. And that's kind of what you saw in the ceremonies he did. Now, what I learned, so I was on the telephone to somebody regarding satanic ritual abuse who was also a survivor. We talked about a particular case that I'd been involved in smashing up this gang. And when I talk smashing up the gang, I'm talking about ruining their altar, ruining everything. And that is quite hard to go against, as you all know. So I got a call or text that night from somebody whilst I was having this call with this particular person. And I finished the call, I checked my phone, and on my phone there was a message from somebody who is very spiritual, and said, you need to read this poem aloud right now. Now, I can't remember the poem off the top of my head because it's about 300 years old. So I read it aloud. And as soon as I said the very last word of this poem, bearing in mind she didn't know when I was reading it, the phone rang. And it was this woman saying, now the angels are with you, keep telling the truth. And these are things that you need to do now to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Now, that following day, I had a visit from an apparition, and this is where it gets very dark. I knew Chris Hargreaves was being taken over by a demon. You could see it in his eyes and everyone we spoke to. And this was trying to gain control of him, and he's very demonic. I had a visit, and very clearly the shape of his style, etc., etc. And it was in his format, not in a devil's format, but in the format of how he looks. And things that happened, the television, which was unplugged, came on, right? Now, I got witness to all this. I mean, my back window to show about the television came on. And on that screen, it was just going completely crazy. The alarms went off. All the electric sockets fused. The car alarm and the windows rattled as though someone's trying to get in. And I'm not talking about one window. I'm talking the house, right? The noise was deafening, right? And he was there. The shape of somebody was there. And the smell, right? There's a certain smell which comes from this.
Oh, there is.
Right?
Yeah.
And that you could feel. And that is what you're dealing with when you're dealing against satanic ritual abuse, which are people who will summon the demons and will become engulfed in their own demon. And the demon is trying to take their body because that's what they do, is a vessel. And that is something that we have to fight against. And very often you can say, thankfully I've got angels looking after me. And that is, and it sends a shiver down my spine sometimes when I think, when hearing you say that, because unless you've been in that, then you will not understand. And anybody's watching this, if they want to be involved in some of the stuff we get involved in, and we have specialists, I'm probably one of the leading people in the UK that understands satanic ritual abuse. Let me tell you, it's not something you should dabble in or take lightly. And to smash these gangs up, then they'll throw every single piece of demonic strength at you. You have to be protected. And I'm not saying I'm a Christian, or I'm not saying I'm not this. I know we've had discussion with spiritual earlier, but we are fighting dark forces every single day.
Yeah.
And that it's hard for some people to take on. And I just want to say that what you've been through is terrible. I'm sure that many other people have been through stuff as well, but it's real. And when you realize it's real, it adds another dimension to the investigations. And this is not for fun.
No, absolutely. And I think, you know, with when, like, I'm going to try and say this because some people won't understand this, and some people will not want to hear it because, you know, I don't believe in that. Well, actually, it is so real that I still feel like residue. Like, and I always, this is why I won't even say it out loud now. I will never say what I read on that beam ever again. I can give you like that bit, you know, he talks about the up and the down and the upside down. And that's why I put now, if you know, the upside down, which is when they swap. And that's actually how, you know, the darkness is trying to infiltrate. And, you know, we have to have protection. You know, my hashtag at the moment is absolutely Christ is King, you know, and we need to have that covering, because when you're going into darkness, you know, if you look at the Bible, it talks about how, you know, Jesus was the only person that they trembled at, like demons only were afraid of. And, you know, I know that like Richie has seen things, you know, back in his day in the church. I have seen things, you know, and we've when you've seen stuff like that in people, so they have a strength that is beyond anything. You know, you watch the horror movies and people kind of go, it's just a horror. Part of the horrors are like based on true stories or realities, and it's dark and it's horrible, and we do need, like I said, that covering, and we do need to make people aware of this as another factor that we're fighting. We've got the Masons, the Brotherhood, satanic rituals, we've got, you know, just darkness and light that we're needing to kind of like work with. So the more of us that are in the light, the better. And that's really all I've got to say, because I know how real it is. And I, you know, I still, even to this day, if I hear an alarm, my whole body goes into, and if I smell smoke, like Richie will get, you know, say,
Smell.
I even smell.
Yeah, it's a smell. You could use recognizable, you know. Yeah.
And I'm like that. And I go into like proper PTSD mode, you know, because it does do damage. So, you know, I that's my bit, you know, and I'm looking forward to kind of going and investigating, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, seeing and exposing the truth, because the truth shall set you free. But it's just whilst we're walking and doing that journey that we need everybody who supports us on this channel just to stand with us in prayer. I don't care how you do it, whether it's a candle and you send energy, whether it's a prayer, whether it's, you know, a wish. I don't care how you do it. Just stand with us, please, because this is something that we need to do, and we need to expose to make sure that the truth comes out.
Absolutely. And on that note, our time's almost up. So we just want to say thank you for everyone that's taken the time to tune in tonight. Thank you so much. We wouldn't do this without you, and your support is incredible. There's going to be a lot more stuff to come out with the investigative work, but also with the May elections coming up as well, it's going to be essential that we hold these politicians to account and hold their feet to the fire. So we're going to have Callum Smiles on, James Harvey, a number of people coming in and reporting on the ground, Rogue, aren't we? And we're going to be discussing that as well. And don't forget, we're going to be on the 25th of April. There's a massive event outside the Senate.
I can't hear anything. Is he talking?
You've got me on mute, love. Joa, can you tell her she's got me on mute?
You're on mute.
You've got me on mute.
Me?
It's a bit when she's on mute, yeah.
How am I on mute?
You've muted me.
I don't know what's going on. Right, okay, so I can't hear anything at all, so I am going to head off now. So, Joak, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for everything. And Richie, I'm really sorry, but next time you need your battery on, okay?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
And you need to turn your mic on as well because you muted me, which is okay. It's fine. Guys, listen, we love you all. Have a great weekend, the rest of it, and we'll catch you on Tuesday night as well. Don't forget our First Minister's questions. And Joak, thank you very much for coming on, and we're looking forward to seeing you all again. Big love, and thank you for subscribing. Follow us on all the social media platforms. We're on X, we're on Facebook. So much going on, so please take a look at that, and we'll see you all on Tuesday night.
And we're talking smashing up the gang. They'll throw every single piece of demonic.
And